All right, here we go. A little bit of technical difficulty. I'll have to figure that one out later. I think I actually hit the finish button to my live video, so sorry if I lost you there. Hopefully you're able to find me again. I will wait just a second for people to get back to me. Oh, I don't think I've ever had quite that happen as I've done a live video, especially where it was completely my fault that I lost the group here, but I'm gonna try to secure my camera just a little better and maybe straighten things out just a little bit. It wants to be twisted here. Pretty soon I'm gonna have to stop fussing. Okay, I'm gonna leave it right here and I'm gonna assume people are getting back to me here. All right, so let me go ahead and get started on this fabulous card that I'm gonna share with you. For those of you who missed the beginning of my video that I cut off here, my name is Carol Garrison of Carol's Creative Escape. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and have been making cards for over 30 years, using Stampin' Up! Products probably for about 10.5 years or so. And welcome to my Make It Monday night. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video. All right, let me reveal my cards here. This is my go-to layout. When I need to make a card in a hurry, this is the layout that I'm going to use. Like I said, with the designer series paper, I can actually make 16 cards out of this because this designer series paper measures 3 by 3, so out of a single 12 by 12 sheet of designer paper I can get 12 cards. This paper right here is a 6 by 6 paper, so I'd be able to make 4 cards out of a single sheet of paper. So if you imagine that you've got a 48 pieces of, hey Lynn, thanks for joining me. I kind of cut my video off at the very beginning here, so I had to start over, so glad you were able to find me. Anyhow, so if you've got a 48 piece set of 6 by 6 designer series paper and you can make 4 cards out of a single sheet, you could really make a lot of cards with this layout. And then I like it because, again, it's versatile. I've got my Christmas card here, I've got my birthday card there. This would be good for kids or kind of an adult. I view that more as kind of my feminine card. I'm going to show you how to make a more masculine version of this card as well. But this paper that I've used is in the annual catalog, and it's the Bright and Beautiful 6 by 6 paper. That's the one that comes with 48 sheets. And then the paper I'm going to use in my card tonight is the Earth and Elegance, and that is a 12 by 12. And I've just pulled out this piece to make my cards with. And then this particular Christmas card with the snowflakes is part of the Berry Christmas 12 by 12 designer series paper that can be found in the new mini catalog, which has gone live. So let's go ahead. I'm going to share a little bit about each of these cards and what I added to it. This card, I've added some of the in color pearls for the 2022-2024. So that's the Parakeet Party, Tahitian Tide, what other colors are in there? I can't think off the top of my head. But anyhow, 2022 to 2024 in colors on the pearls. And again, they're just in color pearls is what they are called. Oh, Starry Sky, Orchid Oasis, and there's one other color. Well, apparently my brain isn't fully on tonight, so I can't tell you what that other color is, but you get the idea. So I did use one of the embossing folders that's available in the online exclusives. This is a set of 3, and this one is just a large 3D, it is the 3D embossing folder, so it gives you a fairly deep impression when you run it through your cut and emboss machine. and this card features a color that I'm not sure I've used as a card base before, and that's the Lemon Lolly, which is one of the new in colors in the catalog. And to stick kind of with the circle theme, I used my Stitch Elements dies, and on the inside I did use some of the confetti and party favors. And this comes from the stamp set. It's in the annual catalog, and the name of the stamp set is Beautiful Balloons. And so it just created a nice birthday card, I thought. And then on this one, I embossed using the gorgeous 3D embossing folder that comes with this suite of products, the Snowy Flake 3D embossing folder. But I did it on vellum paper. And so it really creates a nice white look with the snow without having to do any fancy coloring or anything like that. And then I wanted a little bit of sparkle, and so I just put Wink of Stella over the entire snowflake piece of paper here. I think if I angle it right, yeah, you can see a little bit of sheen on that. And then on the inside of this card, I just used one of the snowflake, well, two of the snowflakes that are in that bear stamp set that goes with this designer series paper. So let's go ahead and get started on the masculine version. This one is going to feature the colored Pebbled Path, and it is a masculine layout. So again, to get started, let's give measurements. I've got a piece of 5.5 by 8.5 cardstock, scored at 4 1/4, and then I have another piece of the Pebbled Path cardstock. This one measures 4 by 5 1/4, and I ran this through another one of the embossing folders that comes in that trio of embossing folders. It's part of the online exclusives. I really just like this all over pattern. I think it adds a nice background, good texture. Have a piece of basic white that again measures 4 by 5 1/4 for the inside of my card. And then I've got a piece of smoky slate that measures 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. My designer series paper measures 3 by 3. And again, you can pick pretty much any pattern that you want on that designer series paper, depending on what you're trying to achieve. I'm going to decorate the inside of this card using just a strip of the designer series paper. So this measures 5/8 by 5 1/4. And then for the sentiment, I have a piece of the Pebbled Path cardstock that measures 3 1/4 by 1 inch, and a piece of basic white that measures 3/4 of an inch by 3 inches. And that's all the supplies that you need. So they're easy measurements to cut, make multiple layers, that type of thing. And as always, I like to do my stamping first. So let's go ahead and get started with that. I like to just make sure I'm giving my ink plenty of time to dry. And one of the things with this particular card, I am going to do my designer series paper, and that means I want to attach that on the inside here first where I'm putting it, so that when I put my stamped sentiment on there, I'm able to make sure that I've got it centered. I didn't do that, I think it was last video that I made, and I ended up having to actually redo that piece of paper because it wasn't centered and I didn't like how it looked. So I'm just going to put that right on the edge here. I am using my silicone mat for this simply because I didn't want to get any adhesive on my work surface. And now that I've got that attached, it's going to be real easy for me to do my sentiment. I am using one that says, "Wishing you the happiest of birthdays." And this one comes from the Charming Sentiments stamp set that is located in the annual catalog. And then I'm going to use Pebbled Path now because this is a photopolymer stamp. I do want to get my foam stamping mat. These are actually the piercing mats that we sell, and they are available for purchase still. And it just adds a little bit of cushion so that it gives me a better surface, better image for stamping on. So wishing you the happiest of birthdays. My of is a little filled in, but we're going to live with that and be okay. That's more because I pressed down harder than I should have when I was stamping my image. And then I'm just going to take it and clean it off on my Simply chamois so that I'm not getting it all over everything. And we'll set that aside. And then today I am using a stamp that runs vertically. We used to have a happy birthday stamp and a couple others that ran this way, but this is the only one in the current annual catalog. And so I do just throw my stamps on a block. I don't worry about them being straight or anything because it helps me focus on the stamp instead of making sure the block is straight. So when I'm stamping, I can just focus on my image and get it on there straight. This particular stamp comes from the So Sincere stamp set. This is in the new mini catalog. And this one is actually from a $1 Million Seller. Let me give you her name real quick because not very many, like less than 0.001% of demonstrators will hit that level. So when they do, we like to celebrate them. And one of the things that Stampin' Up! Likes to do is throw a big celebration with them. And part of that celebration involves creating, working with their creators and coming up with a stamp set that reflects them. So this particular one was designed by Sandy Hancock. And it's just a bunch of great sentiments. You're in my heart and prayers just for you. So very proud of you. Happy birthday. So thankful for you. Hope you're feeling better soon. Hope your day is a happy one. Your kindness is so appreciated. Be grateful for what you have. Be proud of who you are. Just love spending time with you. Knowing you brings joy to my heart. Great collection of sentiments. I kind of find these vertical stamps just a little more challenging to stamp and keep straight. So I did practice this ahead of time. And I am just going to lay it out centered and hope I did a good job. I don't really like how it wiggled at the bottom there. We'll try one more time, and if this doesn't work, I do have a reserve one. There we go. That's, I think, almost better than my reserved one in terms of how centered it is. So we're going to set the ink aside, and again, I'm going to clean this stamp set off. I think I just find it a little bit more challenging because it's a direction I don't normally have to line up. But I do like how it allows me to change up my card just a little bit, and you'll see what I mean here in just a second. And you know what? I goofed. Shoot. That inside piece, this card is actually going to run a different direction. So I'm going to redo my inside piece of that card. I just peeled off my designer series paper. I think I do this probably every third time I change the direction of a card. Not a big deal. It'll still work. So I'm going to go ahead and retape my designer paper. You'll see on the end here it's white. It's because part of it stuck to that piece of paper that I just peeled it off of. And that's okay. It's still going to work. And that's why I'm supposed to be using my adhesive mat. So this I'm going to put along the bottom of my card. Hey, this will give me a chance to improve that image that I wasn't so happy about, right? Okay. And then this I'm just going to put in the center here. And there we go. And now it's fixed. I like to have you see my mistakes because I think sometimes we see these videos and everything goes right. And that's a lot of times because they're very good at splicing videos together, so you don't always see the whoopsies that they make. And it's all part of making cards, so it's only fair for you to see what happens when I screw up, and more importantly, how you get it fixed. Okay, so to assemble this card, I am actually going to have it run horizontally instead of vertically like these two cards did. And I don't know if you noticed, but this card was a 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. This card is actually 4 1/4 by 11 inches, scored at 5 1/2. You end up with the same size card. When all is said and done, they just open up a little bit differently. This card is still going to open up this way, but it's going to run horizontally. So we can get started by adding some adhesive to the inside piece. And again, a light touch with that hook action, for the most part, should prevent it from getting gummy on you. We'll go ahead and line up our card layer. And that finishes off the inside of the card. That was pretty simple, right? Let's work on our layers then. I think it's pretty obvious. This is going to go on top of this piece of paper. So we'll add a little bit of adhesive to the back of that, and I'm just going to center it. And then I am going to adhere this piece onto my cardstock. And there we go. And then this piece, I'm going to, this one actually looks good whether it's indented or raised, but I'm going to do the raised piece because that's what I'm liking. That's usually my preferred side to go with. And then I'm just going to put this piece on top. Now, I have in the past tried to run just this part of my card base through the embossing folder. And honestly, it's just a whole lot easier to take a slightly smaller piece. You could even take a full-size piece and run it through the embossing folder, and you don't have to worry about where your center line is and bending up or scratching up this half of your cardstock either. So totally up to you, but that's what I'm doing here. And then I want to pop this card up just a little bit, so I'm going to grab some dimensionals. Those are my mini dimensionals. I had a sheet of the bigger ones. There we go. And as you can see, these are almost gone. And as long as these two pieces came up, they have a straight edge here. I do use up every bit of my dimensionals. So those pieces on the edge, I will cut and get these kind of pieces to use up. They're perfectly usable. Nobody's going to see what they look like. And I think it makes me get the best value for that purchase too. All right, so let's just go ahead and get the backing off. And so for this card, I'm going to put it kind of off to the side like this. And then I'm going to peel the backing off of these three pieces. And that's going to allow me to have this posted right here. It's kind of unique, like I said, I think, to have this running vertically. And it's just a slightly different change. Now, you know, really what I should have done with this is put it also on that lighter smoky slate. So let's see what I can do here real quick. 1 inch. By 3 inches, only because then it matches everything that's here. I don't know why, you know, tonight I was actually ready way ahead of time, and it seems like on these nights when I do that, sometimes it's when I make these kind of silly little errors in my prepping. And I just made another one. This piece should be 3 1/4 by 1 inch. Oops, sorry about that. It was the designer series paper that was the 3 inches long. Again, not a big issue. Like I said, this layout, one of the things that's nice about it is it does let you use up some of the smaller bits of paper. Tonight I'm just using up a little bit more of those smaller bits of paper. Hi Debbie, thanks for joining us tonight. Sorry I'm a little late in doing that. I don't always see comments as they come in because I get going on my cards here, and clearly tonight I needed to be focusing on my cards. All right, let's add a couple dimensionals. Good thing I try to use every bit of my dimensionals because sometimes I have to throw them away when I make mistakes like that. Do you find that you have one kind of mistake or something that you do repeatedly when you're making cards that you don't intend to do, but it seems to happen? I feel like sometimes it's the miscutting and just not fully thinking through some of those pieces. All right, so that takes care of this particular card. This is a more masculine card and intended to be that way, so I'm not going to add any bling to the front of the card. I am going to leave it pretty simple and have it go like that. So again, with this card, we've got the inside that's got a little bit of decor that matches the outside of the card. Here I've got a Christmas card, same layout, just different style. I mean, these two are almost exactly the same. I've just rotated how it appears on the card. And then we've got this particular card, and I chose the circles to match kind of the circles on that card. So very versatile layout, basic card base of 5.5 by 8.5. The layers are 4 by 5.25. The cardstock layer here is 3.25 by 3.25. Designer series paper is 3 by 3. And then your sentiment really just needs to be sized. The paper for that just needs to be sized to fit your sentiment. So happy card making, everyone. If you do make this card, please share it in the comments below in the video, simply because I think we can help each other with our creativity. Sometimes by seeing other people's ideas, it helps. If you're comfortable doing that, feel free to add it in the comments section. If you know somebody who may like this layout, feel free to share the video. And again, I apologize for cutting us off at the beginning of this video. Hopefully the second one is working a little bit better. And we will see everybody next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.